Hey everyone, this is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching with today's video. It's number 206 and it's sewn quilted round mug rugs. Anyone? And I don't know about you, but you can do things and do them, and I still keep doing square mug rugs. And I just love them because I can put orphan blocks together, and I can use orphan blocks from a quilt that I didn't use. You can use all kinds of material, and then you can quilt. And you can use your ruler foot, you can use your walking foot, you can use your regular foot. It's amazing what you can do. But this morning when I got up, I said, I sort of got it in my mind to do a different one. And I had seen an oval the other day, and I thought, I'm not ready to tackle that. But I can tackle a round one and see. And you say, nothing to it. Well, yeah, not quite. But I sort of finally got it to go. So I hope this is going to be a take and that you got it's all here together. So with that said, I'm going to move him up. And I'm going to show you the first one that I made. And I critiqued it and I said, it looks pretty wonky around the outside and in places. And the opening had been in the outside edge. And that didn't quite make me as happy. So I said, I think that's two things that I'm going to work on. So I tried changing because this then would have a solid back on it. And if you want a solid back, then you go into the side and do like that. But you also get a good solid with this one. This was the second one that I did, number 2. And when I stitched around the outside, I was really happy because I felt like that was a circle and that the outside looked more circular. So that made me happy. And then the back, when I turned it over, I used 2 half circles on the back and left the opening right in the middle. And that's where I turned it. I got little bitty threads. And that's where I turned it. And I could have hand stitched it depending, but I think I was going to use this one for a gift. So I went ahead and pulled one of my labels and just glued it on the back on there. That said, let's look at what you need. And to do your template, on this one it's nice to have a template. I would usually run in the kitchen and get a bowl and come bring it back with the size that I want. But I had just bought some templates to use for free motion quilting, really for ruler work. And I said, well, I'm going to go pull that because it's really nice to see. And I can look through there and fussy cut some of my pieces. So when I was looking at the fabric, I kept moving this piece around. You can do the same thing with the plastic templates if you buy a piece of that. Or even tissue paper or something, but you want something that you can go around. So I got the front for that, and so we're going to change right now because I had a try and I ended up going to another pattern for now. So I've got this nice flowered material. It's 6 inches. The mug rug will end up being 5 1/4 inches. And that's a really nice size for a coffee cup or a teacup, something like that. So that's an easy part. You get one of those. All right. Then the inside, I put things on the inside. And so the next thing is going to be my inside layers. And the first thing I want you to see and remember, and this red arrow is to help you, is that your front and your back are going to be face to face together, okay? That's why the arrow goes there. That's one of the things that I learned because I actually sewed it twice before I actually got it exactly like I wanted it. But in the meantime, the other thing I do is I like to have an extra piece of material underneath whatever it is, the material I'm using, unless it's really heavy. So I just get a scrap, something that you may not want to use, or I just had some extra white small that would actually make that. And then I cut a 6-inch piece of batting, or you could use fleece, which it'll make it really thin. And then I put a second piece of the scrap fabric on there, okay? Okay, then as we move along, it's kind of fun to have something that moves along. And I thought, oh, this is crip when I get ready to do the video. Well, it is if you can get everything in the right place. And then the last thing is working on the back. And what I did with the back is I took and made a circle with my template. That's kind of wonky itself. And then I cut it in half. And I laid it down and I said, I want to add a 1/2 of an inch across here. And I'm making two, once I get my template made, this is going a 1/2 of an inch instead of a 1/4 of an inch. And then I found that I made my opening in the back, and 1.5 inches works really well for that opening. You still have to work it, but it's not hard at all. The other thing that I did was I changed I had been using 2.4, well, I went to 2.3 on my stitch length, so it'd be tighter and to make it stick together more over here where I was going to go through there, and you could keep going with 2.3 the whole time. So this is the template that I ended up making, and here's my seam. And on here, I put open the seam, but what I really liked was folding the seam over, and I'll show you that with this piece that I've got ready to go. Here was the 1/2 of a circle with a 1/2 of an inch on it, and an opening right through there that was about 1.5 inches. Stitched it with 2.3 there, and 2.3 locked it. All right, then I went to press it. Then I pressed both seams over the same direction. I just like that. But you can also just open the seam and have them meet, and then turn it over and look at it. And there's my opening that we're going to use to poke it through in a second. So that makes all of the pieces that we needed. All right, and when you lay it together, if you remember, you're going to have the front facing the front. But now, as I'm thinking about it, you really want to be careful, because you want to be able to go through that hole. And if you put the back first, guess what? When you stitch that, there's nowhere to go. And so I'm going to make sure I put those face to face, and I put the front underneath it, and I'm going to lay it down there, and it's ready to go. Then one of the other things that I did that was helpful, when I had a light piece that was on the back, whatever, then I wanted to make it, and I'm going to use a pen so you can see it, but I used a mechanical pencil for the ones that I could see. I used my template, and I laid it so it looked like about 1/4 of an inch on the corner, and I saw that I could go from here around to here, and that stayed 1/4. Couldn't quite go 1/4 of a circle. And then I took and I moved my template again, lined it up where it looked like about 1/4, and then I went around there, because remember, one of my problems was my circle looked kind of wonky when I got done, and I wanted to try and stop that. Two things: have a different opening, and then just turn it till you're comfortable. And I'm almost around, and I want to go around because this is when I'm going to go sew, so we can turn it inside out. There it goes, and it'll just work its way around there. If you have a plate that's a little bit smaller, you could just take it and put it in it and go around. So now I've got my back, my front facing my back, because I want to pull that through, and when I pull it through, I will see that pretty fabric. And I've got a piece of scrap right there, and I've got a piece of batting and a piece of scrap. I'm going to go to the machine and do a run around on that line that we made. Okay, I've gone all the way around. And then one thing that you might like to do is fold those two front pieces towards you and come in here and trim some of this off. There is no reason to clip. Like that's small, because it slid a little bit. And then I'm going to go around, and nothing like a close-up of somebody cutting. But we're going to stop with that, but you go around and cut that out if you want to. Makes it a little less bulky out there. Now I'm going to go back to my handy poker here, and I'm going to open up my circle. And I think this is going to turn out this time because I can see the pretty side of the material under there. The last one that I started on this, I got this far, and it was so good. And then, guess what? I was pulling it through, and I got the white back side of the piece I was doing. And I said, oh, now I didn't do that on those other two that I made. So it made me re-examine it. So I'm ready to start. I've got a little nose. I'm going to call that a little nose. And then I just take my rod to help me get going. Once you get it going, you are going to be surprised. Got it held up against my stomach so I can push on it. Oh, there it's going. Neat. And then you can pull it down. And I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to go work on pulling the nose through. This is coming different than before. Oh, yeah. I guess practice makes things go smoother. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect. I'm just going to say it. Look at that. This thing's just popping right through there. So don't get frustrated, because it depends on how heavy your material is as you're doing that. And I've got it sort of going around. Now I'm going to take that poker again. And guess what? When I flip it over, there's the right color. All right. So now I'm going to take and poke my stick in there. And I'm going to move it around to circle, to make the circle. I have to circle it up to get the circle. And as you go, you can see there. And some of that might have been some of that bulk that I didn't trim off, but I think I would always trim the bulk off, because you don't want to set your cup on there, and because it's got an edge, although I can't really feel it. You don't want anything to tip. This great gift you give somebody. And then look at that. Look at my circle. Got a great looking circle. And when I turn it back, I've got my opening. I take this and press it. And then I could either, this one actually opened itself, and I just take a stitching and go through there, or you can pull it together and put your label on it. But before I did that, I'd do any quilting that I wanted to do on it. And the one little circle around the outside seems to work well with you when you have some patterns, because this one has flowers, and it says gratitude, wonder, sincerity, hope. Just a nice way to get up in the morning and think about things, be grateful for each day. And I think that brings us to an end. I hope you enjoy that. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make some more, because it's really fun. And just have the things ready that you need to push things through, and make some great mugs for now, mug rugs for now, and later in the year for other people. This is Stephanie at Hightower Stitching. If I have any notes, I think I should have hit all the bumps by now. I will write those in the description. If you think this is fun or helpful, please subscribe and hit like. It doesn't cost anything. Have a great day.